what exactly separates the top 1% students from the rest? In Korea, the top 1% students study every chance they get. So is it about how long we study? Is it the study methods we use? Actually, it's both. Well, I've been in dental med school for 3 years now, and I've been researching far and wide, and these are the 5 study habits that I have not only from me, but from high-performing classmates and friends I know personally who are much more better than me when it comes to studying and exams. So, instead of being salty, I decided to steal their Krabby Patty secret formula and decide to share it all with you guys. And of course, the top 1% students don't waste your time, so let's head straight into it. Tip number 1 is they use the blurting method. I've noticed this technique not only with myself but with a lot of high-performing students in my class as well. I actually sat beside one of them and I noticed that she was blurting most of the information while we were in class. So essentially what the blurting method is to verbally blurt out whatever you're understanding in your own words as you're learning something. Instead of just passively listening, reading, or watching, for every piece of information you learned, you pause what you're reading or studying and you start reciting or blurting the piece of information that you've just learned. Basically, you're pausing every now and then to process the information you just read to your brain. In this way, you will be actively using your brain more rather than just passively intaking information. So, how do we use the blurting method in practice? Well, let's take this slide I have from one of my lectures, and if my university decides to sue me for showing class lecture materials online, this is literally found on the PowerPoint online on Google. So, you can't sue me. Blame your professor, not me. First, when looking at the slide, I first remind myself what I'm actually looking at. In this case, the paired topic is about dental caries, and this slide tells me the advancement process of caries in dentin, which is sort of the softer inner material of your tooth. And here, it tells me that there are 3 steps to this process: demineralization of the dentin, degeneration of organic material, and bacterial invasion. Now, if I was studying with the blurting method, I'll essentially tell myself the information I just said a while ago in my mind verbally while looking away from the slide. So while looking away from the slide, I'll tell myself verbally, okay, so the slide I was just reading was about the process of dental caries in the dentin of the tooth. And from what I remember, there are 3 steps to this process, which is the demineralization of dentin, the degeneration of organic material in the dentin, and the invasion of bacteria. I'll be saying all of this from the top of my head without looking at my slide. That way, not only will I understand the information in my own words, but I'll also be able to retain the information in my head, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know is a more effective way of memorizing something long term. So why is this effective? Well, essentially, you're trying to interleave periods of time during your study session or when you're taking information during a lecture for your brain to properly process information. Instead of just passively reading a prompt, you're actively trying to use your brain to understand the information you're getting. This will not only save time for you in the long run since you will be actively processing the information as you're reading it, but it is also an effective way for you to understand things in your own words. What's cool about this technique is you're actually using 2 study techniques at the same time. First one being active recall and the Feynman technique. And mind you, both study techniques are proven to provide high-yielding results. So, the next time you're trying to study for yourself or when you're studying in class, I highly recommend the blurting method. And it seems like the top 1% students are using this technique as well. Tip number 2 is to organize your notes. Controversial take, but notes aren't that bad. Okay, put your pitchforks down. I get it. Now, I'm not talking about the written or copied notes, but the organization of notes. And the thing is, I still see my classmates, even the top performers, use notes from time to time. Now, the thing is, I feel like people misunderstand what the power of actual notes can do. Now, taking notes and copying word to word from your lecture is quite possibly a waste of time when it comes to information yield of what you retain in your head. See, I'm a part of you guys. Put down your pitchforks, like, come on. However, organization of notes and study material is quite frankly a very effective way of structuring your subject, and in return can somehow help you visualize what you're studying, helping you see the whole picture in one. The problem with university or your school in general is the amount of overloading information that we have to learn. And because of this overwhelmingness, it's very easy for us to lose track of what we're actually studying. We end up getting hyper-fixated over the small details and the small branches when really, we should remember the bigger picture, or the main tree. Yes, quite poetic indeed. And this is how organizing your notes can be a good way of structuring that. However, the problem with notes is that it's also very time-consuming, so it's not a very efficient way of sorting your information and organizing them, because even if you summarize everything with your notes, you're not actively learning these pieces of information, you're just passively writing them. So here's my suggestion to the solution to this, which is mind maps. This is my mind map for my entire midterm exam. Yep, that's right. That whole thing covers pretty much 90% of my midterm topics. And as you can see, it's not a huge mind map either. Now, I avoid writing the description and I just end up putting the main terminologies. So if ever I forget about the terminologies, I just go back to the lecture notes instead of making my own set of notes. So you may be asking me, Koi, that's great, using the arrows and lines and all, but how will this help me in the long run? Well, mind maps are great not only because it's a great way of visualizing your topic, but this visualization itself also helps with memorization and recalling information. And all of this is done in a fraction of time, which saves you more time for other subjects. Remember, what separates a normal student from a great student is their hard work, and what separates a great student from a top 1% student is their hard work and efficiency. Remember, everyone has the same 24 hours, so it's up to you on how you can use them. Tip number 3 is just to illustrate how proactive the top 1% student is. If you're somehow like me, just after class, normally I would just go and relax for a little bit. Sometimes I would just study for 10 minutes, and that's usually enough for me. But I've noticed even at the top 1% students that they're just very proactive students. Even during class, they are already trying to understand and study the topic that the teacher is teaching, and it just seems like they're always prepared for class. You'll notice that a lot of Korean students study almost every day. So how do they do it? Why is it that they always seem prepared for class? Well, the secret is not that they're proactive, but they're proactive early. Usually at the start of the semester, students are quite relaxed and we don't really feel that much pressure when it comes to studying. It's only during the middle or even the end of our semester that we start studying really hard for exams. However, for them, they treat every day as if their exam is already coming up. A lot of the top performers I know already have preparations for the moment we start class. They already have flashcards, notes, mind maps, and all that. But Kai, what if I already do those things, but I'm not feeling like I'm prepared as well? Well, the thing is, they're not only proactive early, but they're proactive throughout the whole semester. They don't treat school like a race. They treat it more like a marathon. So how can you keep being proactive consistently? Well, one thing I really recommend is a tracker. The Notion University page that I use has a built-in subject tracker where you could track your revision and see how long it's been since you revised a certain subject. I built this for myself and it's served me quite well for dentistry. So I highly recommend a tracker or a University Notion tracker. If you guys want my Notion University template, you can just check down the link in the description. Another way of being proactive is to use a to-do list or a calendar to schedule out your classes and such. However, I don't really like using multiple apps for those kinds of things, hence why I use Akiflow. I've been using Akiflow for the past year now and I really like it. It essentially allows you to have a lot of integrations into one app. So for example, Google Calendar, Notion, Gmail, or TikTok, or etc. And not only that, you can sync to your own Google Calendar and you can just have your view there in Akiflow itself. It has a built-in to-do list system that you can drag and drop to the timeline. Akiflow also has built-in AI to automatically tag your subjects or to put them in a project automatically. You can even have your tasks in a hierarchy, just like the Eisenhower matrix. You can even set your goal for the day, which is pretty cool. Not only that, I really like the routine function where you just click the button on the bottom left and it will allow you to prepare your routine for the next day. You can end the day with this routine and it will show you the tasks you finished and the tasks you haven't finished. And it will move the tasks you have left to the next day, which is pretty cool. And you can even drag the to-do list onto the calendar itself and prepare your routine for the next day. And even if you need help, Akiflow offers a community for you to ask whatever you want. So head down to the link in the description to get Akiflow. Thank you again, Akiflow, for sponsoring today's video and feeding my family. And back to the tips. Tip number 4 is that top 1% students use external sources to help them. Now, this is one of the tips that I really found super helpful, especially when it came to my hardest subject. It actually helped me pass one of the subjects that was really hard to pass in the first place, and this tip ties in with my past tip, which is to be proactive. Most students rely on the materials given to them by the professors because they think that, well, maybe what will appear in the test will probably be from the materials given by the professor. And while that's mostly true, lots of professors in university tend to give questions that are not even given by the lecture. They don't even tend to teach everything in the lecture. This is why using external sources is a very helpful way of mastering your subject, and I find that a lot of top performing students use this technique as well. The thing is, in my university, a lot of professors teach in Tagalog, which is a language that I'm not completely fluent in. Pasensya, ganito lang ako. That's why whenever I try to study for an exam, I try to use external sources. Not only can it widen my scope of the subject, but it's a good way for me to study a certain subject in a different angle. Typically, I search on Google certain textbooks or certain PowerPoints online that I'm able to access for free. I just literally search on Google certain textbooks or certain PowerPoints online that I'm able to access for free. Like literally everything on Google. And finally, the tip 5, health is wealth. I know this is a very typical advice, but this is one of the things that most students overlook, and that is health is freaking wealth. And you won't be able to perform properly if you're not taking care of your body. Make sure you're eating properly and getting enough sleep. The reason why most top 1% students are able to take care of their mental health and their physical health is that they already established good study habits in the first place. It's not about studying 12 hours a day and just using brute force to study your way for an exam. That's just not good for health in the long run. Personally, I'd much rather have a good mental health and good health overall rather than having good marks. So, make sure to put your health first before your grades. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you take this video as motivation for you to start studying or to start applying these tips to your school. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to drink your water. Bye!